So like I picked him up, I got him some water, and he was like, "Aren't you Hardcore Keem?" I'm like, I'm like, it's over.
It's
He
over.
was like, no man. He was like, no man, it's cool, it's cool. I'd rather have you knock me out than anybody else. I was like, don't say that. I was like, don't ever say that. Get it?
Let's get it. All right, cool. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. I am sitting down with a homie, a baby out down in Florida, Mr. Hardcore Keem. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
That's good, baby. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm curious if your actual birth name is kind of like something that you're trying to hide, and Hardcore Keem is kind of like the stage name. Because I was like, oh yo, and like hardcore last name Keem. Not sure how to introduce
Oh
you.
yeah, so my birth name is Akeem. Just
Oh,
you just
okay.
take off hardcore, you just put an A, just Akeem.
Akeem. That's a
Akeem.
sick first name, honestly. I always
I
remember
appreciate it.
like people I meet for the first
Mm,
time with a certain name. So like,
mm,
like my wife's name is Bryn, and like I've only met one other Bryn, but it was after her, luckily. So that's
mm.
awesome. Well, Hardcore King, thank you for coming on the podcast. Where for those 5 people that might not know who you are, can you just give a little intro of, I guess, like how you're known best in the music community and where you're based?
Well, I'm based out of Florida, Orlando, Florida. And what I basically do is I basically react to uh, metal bands, mostly local bands. 95% local bands because I like to, just give them that spotlight. And then I'm known for the guy who opens up the pit to breakdowns.
Well, yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that, just the whole like content creation, the
Mhm,
reaction kind of aspect. But I had no idea that like most of the bands that you reacted to are in the Florida realm. Like it makes sense now.
mhm,
Them thinking of some of the bands that I watched just before talking to you, but
mhm.
it's a cool way for you to do that just for your local scene.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I love putting definitely putting the Florida scene on. And then I always do put other states and cities. Like I know you're in Canada. I've had some Canada bands on the channel, which is these there's a lot of bands, but
I think the last one I saw you did was like, or of Canadian bands was like Falsifier,
uh
if I'm remembering
yeah,
correctly.
falsifier, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. Well, Hardcore Keem or Akeem. How should I be addressing you?
You can say key, hardcore key, whatever works,
Oh,
man.
okay, okay.
Whatever makes you feel
Well,
comfortable.
Akeem. For those who are maybe a little bit newer to the podcast, usually what I like to do is get like context about how people got into like heavier music overall. So can you kind of
Mhm.
take me back to like the influential moments or records that kind of put you on that path to getting
Oh, absolutely.
you know to loving the breakdowns and the mosh riffs?
Oh, absolutely. I think it was like 2008, 2009. Um, I forgot where I heard it. I heard, I remember Pump Goes Pop.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was
Fearless
Devil
Records.
Wears. Absolutely, it was Devil Wears Prada, Still Fly. So that was the first song that got me into the whole genre, and then that's when I listened to Plagues, and I think Plagues definitely got me into the whole heavier side of music, and I was just hooked after that and just fell in love, and then it just expanded from there.
Right. Did you pick up that Punko's Pop record like at a music store just super randomly, or how did that come into your possession?
Actually, I found it on it was like just like a random YouTube video, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
this looks cool," and I clicked on it, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" And then it was because I'm so used to the original version,
right.
and then I was like,
Yeah.
"This," and then I just got hooked, and I was like, "Wow, this sounds really good." I was like, "I need to find more of this band."
Yeah. No, and that's honestly like very similar. Like I was finding lots of new bands that like I've loved this whole time of, you know, consuming music through like the
Mhm,
YouTube, like the OG YouTube algorithm, where it wasn't
mhm.
like recommended for you. It was like you would watch a music video of a band, and then there was like 10 other bands for you to check out, and some were like a little bit cringier than others, but sometimes you would stumble upon something a little bit more like, oh, like never really thought about that. But
Exactly.
yeah, the Punko's Pop series is like pretty infamous. Like it, I think they definitely beat a dead horse by the end of it. But like some of the earlier stuff, like any of the stuff that like A Day to Remember did, where they were covering like Kelly Clarkson and like Cable Car, like that shit, I think still holds up for sure.
Oh, absolutely. The older Pump Goes Pop definitely it definitely separated each band. But now it's kind of cringe.
Yeah.
It's like all right. Some
What
songs just doesn't need to
is there like a cringy one off the top of your head that like you loved maybe
uh
back then, but you God forbid can listen to nowadays?
what actually hold on. I remember it. Well, who did that? It was hold on. Let me look up the
I never thought that Punko's Pop would ever come up on this podcast, but I'm really glad that it did.
it holds a special place in my heart.
Right.
I think it was. Oh, yes, yes. It was the Skylit Drive one. It was the Love the Way You Lie. And I was like, it was a Rihanna song. I was like,
Yeah,
some songs just don't need to be covered.
yeah. Who did did someone do Swing?
That was Miss May I. That was a great
Oh,
song. That
yeah.
was a great one.
I was just thinking of like the swing in the
Yes,
background.
that one.
Just like
That one.
jeez.
It takes getting used to, especially that one. But when you start listening to it, I was like, all right, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. If you have a favorite Punko's Pop cover, put it in the comments. We'll like probably chat about it and then never talk about it
Oh,
ever again.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
well, yeah, like I literally was talking to someone through the DMs today just about how I love learning these little stories on how like it was like people picking up a comp at like a music or CD store or like a
Mm,
YouTube video recommendation or like there's so many ways to discover new music and sometimes it just hits you like when you least expect it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, what's pretty funny that you say that. It's like because a majority, not majority, a pretty large percentage of my following don't even listen to metal. Like,
Really? That's
yeah,
interesting.
which is crazy. Or they're like people who don't listen to metal anymore, and they're
Mm,
like, "Oh, this sounds pretty good. I'm gonna start listening again." It's
yeah.
like I was like, "Oh, wow, all right."
They kind of like maybe dropped out of their, call it local scene and then like, oh, like I haven't been in hardcore or metalcore music for a minute and kind of
Mm,
discovering the more current bands in that phase
yeah,
of things. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's honestly like, something I wanted to bring up because I am always going to, praise and applaud the people um who are using some kind of platform to promote new bands to people.
Mm,
And I'm more so used to it in the sense of like filming bands and then seeing a moment of a set, and then I go like check out the band. I'm like, oh man, this is one of my new favorite bands.
mm,
But what was really cool about your stuff is like, it seemed like there's this wave of like reaction channels and content.
mm,
But the thing that I liked about you is that you were like, I'm not just like pigeonholing or like just being picky about like I'm gonna do Knocked Loose and Code Orange and all like the more hype bands. Like,
yeah.
and what was really cool for me is like I found Degrader through watching your like reaction of that video.
Uh
And I literally watched it like 2 times today because it's still like so hilarious on how like doing that. So how like what was can you tell me about like your why on why you wanted to start doing like a reaction to some of the new music you were discovering?
so that's what when I first started Hardcore Keem, I told myself that my base will always be smaller bands. Because it's so easy to take a big band and put a video out for it, get all these views, but that's not really why I wanted to do it. I just because I was in a band myself, so I know how hard it is to really get your music out there. When you have it, when it's such a saturated scene, you know what I'm saying? So I know how hard it is to really get your music out there, and I want to be, an outlet for these smaller bands that are grinding so hard. Sometimes even harder than these bigger bands. And I want to give them definitely that spotlight to be like, oh, they see, if somebody sees a reaction that I did on the band, and they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go check them out. And at the end of the day, they get more exposure and more of a following.
Yeah. And I think like I think like I've kind of come like kind of full circle with the whole reactions, because I totally agree that there are people who are like, yeah, here's the new Code Orange song, and they're like, like it is it is cool to actually kind of um see someone else's experience when it comes to like actually hearing something for the first time, because
Hmm.
when you watch like a TV show, like most of the time nowadays there's like an after show, or like there's podcasts where people are talking about it, because
Hmm.
not all of everyone in your friend group has like watched the latest like I'm trying to think of like a recent, like when Tiger King came out, for example, like you just want to
Ah,
talk about it, but not all
yeah.
your friends are like caught up or like binge watch everything. So like the reaction is kind of a nice thing where it's like the Degrader video specifically, it's like that song kind
Mhm.
of like really just like takes you on a roller
Oh
coaster
man, that
of metal emotions.
they
um
did their thing.
oh yeah,
They really did their
I
thing,
love
man. I
I
love that song
I
so much.
still laugh when you say, how are you gonna bark from the start? Yeah.
I've noticed that more bands are doing like the ARF, and I love it. Like I love that.
I think it's the new like blah, because
Yeah,
like Stray kind of popularized that like blah, or like Architects, like depending on who you
yeah.
talk to, but
Uh,
not as many bands are doing the blah. It's
and
all the
that's getting
bark.
outdated.
Yeah, it's true. So a question I had just on the music, like
Mhm.
I know in your bio I think it says DM to feature, but like how are you kind of like choosing the songs that you're gonna react to when maybe you only know like a vibe of the band, like
Mhm.
through maybe past songs that you've heard.
Mhm.
But yeah, how do you choose that? Because sometimes you could be like, oh yeah, this band's probably gonna be super heavy, and then it's like something totally random. Like
Oh,
how do you pick
so
that?
so what I do is I have so many messages. So what I do go through the messages, like I'll click on the link, like because I asked them to shoot me a link. I'll listen to like 30 seconds of it, and if I vibe with it, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna do a reaction to it. I'll base it off of that. But if it's like not really my style, I'll be like, hey, unfortunately, you know, it's not really the vibe.
Yeah. Because you can't
Mhm.
really like do your bedroom moshing to like something that doesn't have an actual breakdown or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and then that's why in my bio I said if it don't have a breakdown, I don't want it.
Do you feel pressure like because all these videos that you're doing are just like a one take and you like
Oh,
upload it
absolutely.
essentially.
Yeah,
So
one
like
takes.
do you feel like there's a mindset of like like do I need to mosh to every single video, or are you going to, have that as a special thing for when the super sick riffs come in?
Oh, so how I do my videos is like once I after I preview it, yeah, it's all one take. Um, I never fake no reaction or anything. There's actually a lot of songs on my channel that I don't even mosh to that still have some breakdowns. Some breakdowns just don't make me move, but it's a lot do. So that's how I really choose what goes on to like the social media pages is if it's like a breakdown, and then if I start moshing, and then like when I go back to edit it, I'll be like, I'll edit it, and then like stuff will just come to my mind and be like, all right, add that edit in there to basically make it more entertaining for people who've never heard of the band to get into the band.
Yeah. Yeah, and is it like I think the Degrader one has the Takashi like stupid like the little cut in there.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of wish there was a version of this song that had that soundbite in there. Uh,
Yes, yes.
what's the weirdest like soundbite or like little meme edit that you've put in a video?
The weirdest meme I put in the video. I think didn't a recent one. I think I put I think of the one of the recent ones It was of the jaded Jada Pinkett Smith saying entanglement. I think I think that was yeah, that one's coming out. Yeah, so I put a soundbite of entanglement in there just cause, just for the memes. Just for the memes, because it was just so funny. I was like, all right.
Has any band given you a hard time for like doing something that's a little bit more like comical when it comes to their music, or has everyone been down
No,
with the
everyone's
cause?
been down to that. It's like if you come to my channel, like you better know what to expect. It's like your band's got to get memed or something. Like
Right.
if it's not, that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
But most people know what they're in for.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to, I think it's really cool that you're doing this and putting a focus on like the more local side or like smaller bands. Tell me about like the local Florida scene down there as far as like, obviously it's hard to pinpoint as far as like no shows
Hmm.
in the mix right now, but
Hmm.
yeah, tell the people at home what that's like and how you got into the local scene.
Started the local scene about 2000 and let me start. I think 2013. I think I just graduated high school. Me and a couple of buddies started a band, and that's how I originally got into the Florida scene. We played, a couple shows, and we broke up about after a year or so like that. And then I, stepped away from the scene for 4 years until 2018, and then I got back into the Florida scene with Hardcore Keem as this whole persona thing, like I'm Superman or something. And then that's how I started checking out these bands. But yeah, we have a pretty strong scene,
Mhm.
really strong scene actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite like local Florida bands that either you've reacted to or just like you just fucks with
Absolutely,
anyways?
absolutely. Body Snatcher. Um, we got Grieve. We got Broadmoor. We got Head High. We got Slap. uh two couple more bands. Oh, we got Magnolia Park. Magnolia Park is actually like a pop punk band, but oh my gosh, they're so good. They are so good. I put them on my channel because I was like, I cannot.
Right.
They got no breakdowns, but they got soul. It's I
They got
love
soul. Yeah.
they got soul.
That's so sick. That's been a thing for me too. Is like hardcore will always be our bread and butter on the Scope channel, but like I've started to branch out and do a little bit more like grunge bands, garage rock bands, like
Yeah.
screamo bands, bands
Mhm.
that have like a drummer and a guitar player, and the guitar player is in a unicorn onesie, and just not really having a just kind of filming what I see. So it's kind of like
Mhm.
my musical resume in a sense.
Mhm. I gotcha.
But yeah, like I've been personally on the receiving end where it's like I'm at a show and then my band plays and then the next band after me has like someone's taking photos of like I'm curious if they took photos for my band, but then they were like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just doing it for this one. So
Just for that. I
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
I gotcha.
a little sus in my opinion, but um,
What band you in?
I'm in two bands. I'm in a band called Locked In, and they're it's kind of like I would say our biggest influence for that band is like Kublai Khan, kind of like new metal, heavy hardcore.
Whoa.
I'll send it to you after this.
Yeah, send me that.
We have a new EP that I've been reluctant to finish because we recorded it just before I moved to Calgary, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, my bass player Sean has given me crap about it a bunch, but then
Uh-huh.
I'm in this other band called Endgame, which is essentially kind of like a crossover, thrashy kind of band. So it's like really
Uh-huh.
fast, like old Metallica style kind of riffs.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's coming out like really soon here. So I'll
Oh,
send that to
snap.
you
So
when it
you
drops out.
doing two? All right. I
Yeah.
see you, man. That's
I
crazy.
think the locked in stuff is kind of like I call it my long distance band because we only get together maybe like a couple times a year to like jam and maybe play one show.
Uh,
But
I gotcha.
yeah.
You say you're the drummer?
I play guitar.
Oh, you play the guitar. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I write the
Yeah,
riffs.
definitely send me that. Definitely send me that.
I will. What are you doing vocals in your band or I think because I saw in your intro that there's like one shot of you like grabbing the mic at a show, but I don't know if you play in any instruments yourself.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I did play like guitar and bass, but when I was in a band, yeah, I did the vocals. And actually, for my intro, I was doing the a bit for Falsifier, ending of one of their songs. What is it? I am deaf. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That one. It's pretty
Gotcha.
sick.
Yeah. Do you have any projects on the in the works right now? Like it seems like COVID, everyone has a little bit more free time on their hands and they're just like working on
Yeah.
all this new shit.
Musical projects, probably not for a while. I do plan on doing covers
Oh,
in the future, but musical projects, not probably not for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely pretty time consuming, especially when you have like another main project on the side. Like for the longest time after I moved, I didn't start a new band because I was so invested in doing so much shit with Scoped, and then I was
Uh,
like, I need to be on the other side of this lens at some point, and like
mm,
in playing some music, and that's definitely been a big thing for me for sure.
absolutely, man. It's therapeutic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So getting back to your channel, I want to talk about the guy that's hovering behind you. Um, I didn't know that he had a name, and then I watched one of your videos, and he said his name is Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby Snatcher.
Bob, fuck me, dude. Well, can you tell me about Bobby and your relationship with him, and maybe we can squash some beef that you guys have, because it seems
All right.
like you're always letting it out on him in your videos.
There's always some beef. All right. So, how he came to to living with me, I would say is because my older videos, I used to have this blue chair that I always took my frustration out on it, and then I believe like a month or so ago, it broke in half. I don't know how. I mean, it just broke in half. So I was like, I need something else to punch. And then this band across the Whitewater Tower sent me this chair, and I was like, I can't be breaking chairs, so I need to take my frustration out on something else. And so I'm like, made a post. I was like, hey, does anybody have one of these dummies? And then somebody locally said their mom was selling one, so I picked it up, and I was like, what should we name him? And then somebody said Bobby Snatcher, and I was like, that's his name.
That's too funny, dude. Yeah, like I've kind of seen a number of your different videos, and I would see the some of the chairs, like one kick just kind of like lets one wheel off, and then the next a couple videos after, and that gets expensive. Like you're trying to make some
It does.
content.
It does.
Yeah, yeah, those chairs aren't cheap for sure, and hopefully
Definitely not.
Bobby is lasts you a good amount of time.
Oh,
Um,
he's holding up. He's holding up. He's strong. He's pretty strong.
yeah. Is there any plans with Bobby with like future videos, or is he like a behind the, you know, he's just there when you need him kind of thing?
Um, what he does mostly, he just like I'll wear like it's kind of like double promotion. Because if you ever notice, like
Oh, I see.
most of my videos, I'll wear a band shirt. He'll wear a band shirt. We'll wear like two different band shirts. Double promotion.
I
But
see.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
do.
even notice that, but like that's a nice little subtle way because
Yeah,
I'm talking to you. I was like, what is that band's name behind?
exactly. Soul Keeper.
Soul Keeper, very sick.
Soul Keeper.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I do that. I definitely like to do that. And then I do have a couple skits coming up with him. A couple skits, but
couple.
yeah, just a couple skits.
Yeah.
Just to switch it up.
Hmm. I think if I'm remembering correctly, like so like I know Caleb and I know Caleb,
Yeah.
Serial Playlist Man, and like I saw that one little snippet that you guys did where you were eating cereal together, and you were just talking about like cross promotion between like bands and other artists outside of like heavier music.
Yeah.
And it just talking to you for like 23 minutes here, like it's very clear that you have a mind of just like how to just do subtle marketing versus making it seem like overly produced or corporate or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Mhm.
in your opinion, what's a great reason why bands should do these collaborations, not only with myself or with you or just in general? Why is it important to have that kind of crossover mindset on creating some really interesting and cool shit?
Because if let's say you have like this narrow mind, if you're just stuck in that one zone, you can only reach so far. But if you branch out, you know what I'm saying, like it's more of a connections thing. It's like, this guy know that guy, and then it'll be all connected, and then you could just branch out, because that's what it really is. Like, I'm sure each band want to get to that next level. It's just how you're going to get to that next level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by collabing with people that's not even sometimes in your genre can get you to the next level.
For sure. Yeah, like there are so many things that I'm huge fans of in heavy music. Like I love guest vocal spots on so many different records. Like I remember vividly listening to "Still Alive" by Gideon and being like,
Uh-huh.
"Who is this? Who is this menacing sounding voice?" And then that's how I
Uh,
found Maddie from Kublai Khan, and Kublai Khan is like one
yeah,
of my favorite bands of all time now. So
exactly.
I love those little things to just push it out a little bit further, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah. Do you have any
definitely.
favorite like collabs or, anything of that nature off the top of your head?
Actually, it was probably like a recent one. It was, I don't know if you know Courtney. What's her name? Courtney Love. She's Spirit Box.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I literally
She
was
coll-
talking to someone about that band like just last week.
she has a fantastic voice, and then she collabed with this. It was like this local band. It's called Before I Turn, and it's a beautiful. I'll link you the song. It's a
Sure,
beautiful
please do.
masterpiece. Like it's a soft song. It's like one of their softer songs, but it packs a punch.
Right.
Like it'll give you the feels. It's a great song.
I always like the feels when, the the goosebumps with some riffs and
Oh,
but also
absolutely.
the melodic stuff
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
Um so, we talked about you were talking about just like, not every video you're going to be going off the same way. You're kind of like
Mhm.
like how do you prep for a video? Is there like kind of like something that you're trying to like get in the zone about, or like it's just like, oh, I got some time, click play and just off to the races?
So what I do is like, let's say it's like a recording day. So like I'll have like a list of songs that I got to react to, and then I'll react to it. There's no really plan. It's like, oh, I'm gonna watch this way. It's like, hey, if I move, I move. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
So it really is. I just go off of how I'm feeling. If it makes me pumped, it makes me pumped.
Are
Hmm.
you like, oh, I gotta switch my shirts in between the videos so it looks like just totally different days, or you're just doing,
Yeah.
like kind of the same thing? I literally was
Yep.
thinking about doing that today because I recorded a totally separate podcast. I was wearing this
Uh,
shirt and I was like, oh, but then I just turned my hat backwards and then I won't think
yeah,
about
that's
it
what I
later.
do. So like what I'll do is uh, I'll change my shirt. I'll change Bobby's shirt, and then I'll even change the lights behind me. And I'm like, it's a completely new day.
Yeah, it's a completely new day.
Yeah, that's
Do
what I'll
you
do.
feel like
Exactly.
how many videos are you crunching out in like a recording day?
A good recording day, I could probably push out about 10 easy.
10?
10.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess
like
like if it's just the song and it's like a one take kind of thing, like
that's why I pride myself
you could
on one
probably get
take.
in a groove for sure too.
Absolutely. It's especially when you're like so used to like editing, you just like know exactly as soon as you see it, you're like, all right, this meme is gonna go here, this meme, you get into that rhythm, and you just pump them out faster.
So like do you have a upload schedule, or is it just like you record it and it goes up, or like you try and do like one, one a day, one every other day?
Mhm.
What's
It's
your
probably
upload
uh,
strategy for that?
so it's 1 to 2 a day. Yeah, that's my upload strategy. And then Thursdays is the throwback.
Okay.
It's probably like a throwback Thursdays. And then Mondays, which I'm starting out, I like to add at least like one video that's um, not reaction based. It could be like something else, probably just me giving like a story time. I recently started like a story time series and stuff like that. So I'll just probably talk and stuff like that. Yeah, I like to
What do you do
broaden
in
it
your
up.
story time about? Just like show stories or
Oh,
anything like that?
one I did a story time. It was like a couple weeks ago. My first time at a show, experience like my first mosh pit. That was pretty crazy because I've never been inside like a mosh pit or anything, and I just saw people swinging, and then I was like, oh, you guys are swinging, I'm gonna start swinging too. So I was actually just fighting people.
What's your take on like crowd killing? Because I know Bobby, like he's got his opinions, but I'm
Mhm.
curious on what your you know I think that there's certain bands that definitely like cater more to that like call it more belligerent style of
Yeah.
moshing versus like
Uh,
some others. But I'm curious on what your take on it is.
so I love crowd killing, but there's like it comes to a point where it's like, okay, now you're targeting.
Right.
You can crowd kill, don't try to like hurt people like you do like the soft hits, but when you're targeting after specifically going after someone and kicking them and hitting them on purpose, then yeah, that's when it's too much.
Yeah, yeah, because then
Absolutely.
you're like, then you're risking at the band's expense that they're gonna have to stop their set, so they kind of like throw off their groove of their performance to try and break something up if it gets to that point. But also using that as like a cop out to like, oh well, if I go and do this, like you know, like people are just trying to like dodge stuff, so they're not going to really
Mm,
address it as unless it's
mm.
getting too out of hand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree
exactly,
with that.
exactly. It's there's a people like at this point can realize when you're trying to have fun or you're trying to hurt someone.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Is there like are you moshing to the majority of the bands that you would go see live in the local Florida area, or
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I try to show love because I think that's like, especially when going to a show, you know, let's be honest. Most people stand it back, cross their arms. But when you're, showing that passion, showing that energy to a band, it gets them pumped. You know what I'm saying? So that's like a way of showing them love that, your music is good. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
it's like it goes both ways.
yeah,
They're giving them they're giving their time to you. You should, give that energy back to them.
yeah. And it's also just I think it's the best way to showcase your scene too, because I roll up at majority of shows like the last festival that I filmed prior to COVID, everything being canceled was a fest in
Mhm.
Minneapolis called Snow and Flurry Fest, and just
Uh,
people in the Midwest, like it shocked me to my core on how hard people were moshing with like zero, like probably zero health insurance, and like up here in
uh,
Canada, people can like punch you in the mouth and you could like go to the hospital and like whatever, but like
uh,
it's just it just blows my mind how people are moshing way harder, and it's just way different in the States when it comes to the
yeah, man,
healthcare
people are
system.
crazy.
Oh man. Do you have? Oh, I don't want to ask this because it's kind of our way to end the podcast.
Mhm.
But like we're on the topic of moshing, so I have to ask about a crazy mosh story or like anything that you've done or seen that's just absolutely wild.
I got a crazy mosh story. Well, what do you want to hear? Do you want to hear me hurting someone or
Let's do both because then it balances the scales.
okay, so it was actually one of the recent ones. Um it was dealer, spite, I am, orthodox, variable rare was oh, sorry, that's not variables. Variables. It was
Variables.
I don't know, I said variables.
No, that's
Um
fine.
it was during the I am set and oh man, like I reacted to I am before, but them live is a
Oh,
completely
it's
different
so
animal.
different.
It's completely different.
There's just a new level of just like Pantera metal energy that like
Exactly.
I 100% agree with you. I saw them for the first time. Shout out to I am Andrew if
Mm.
you're listening. I love you and I hope you guys come play Calgary soon. But I saw them for the first time with Acacia Strain and Left Behind.
Oh
So
wow.
this was like 2018.
Uh-huh.
Um, so a couple years back, but just like, and this was just before their latest record
Uh-huh.
um, came out. But I was just blown away, Just
I was because when it's like when they step on stage, you're like, oh, it's probably like a little dad rock band, something like that. I was like, oh, I was like, they're in the wrong scene, but they're just so good.
it's just like motorcycle, like Ghost Rider, like metal, like music.
Yeah, it's they're definitely in their own lane.
Mhm.
They're definitely separate themselves from everybody else.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what song you reacted to from that. I think it
What did I do?
was it Paid in Sin? Or
I reacted to two songs by them.
oh, okay. Man, I literally could talk about I Am for like 20 minutes.
There, I think, yeah. So I did Paid in Sin, and then I did
Oh,
one.
Hard to Kill is the record. Sorry for everyone's like, no, it's this.
Those music listeners, yeah, they got to correct everything.
No, everyone just
Yes,
oh man.
yes, Paid in
Even
Sin.
the previous album, Life Through Torment,
Hmm.
is just
Hmm.
there's some bangers on that, man.
It's just that they're underrated. I feel that they really are underrated.
I 100% agree. We've talked about two Texas, staples, Kublai Khan and I
Uh,
Am. Have you heard of a band called Frost Coffin?
Frost Coffin?
Yeah. Coffin with a
No.
K.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll send them to you. I saw them at Snow and Flurry Fest, and they
Mm,
were like, they look like, how can I say this? So they look very similar as far as people to I Am,
mm,
like
mm.
kind of that, like we ride motorcycles and we wear cowboy hats and like,
Yeah.
wear those, play these kind of guitars, but it's kind of like their like their take on like more hair metal music. So there's more
Okay.
like singing and riffs, but dude, it is like I saw it live and I was like, I need to listen to this like under the mic. Like I need to
Uh,
listen to the record, and I'm like hooked. It's so
yeah.
fucking catchy. I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah. Definitely send me that.
To
Definitely send me that.
Yeah, it's
Always
very
when they
sick.
expand.
Yeah.
All right. So the story.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
back to Mosh stories because
I
we're
forgot
talking about
what
I Am.
song. I forgot what song they played, but when the breakdown hit and then the bass drops, just like it consumed. Oh, but I was going crazy. Like I was starting spin kick, and then like there was just this kid. Like all I remember was him going like that. I threw that backhand, and like I totally clocked him. I knocked him out. I felt so bad, and I was like, "Are you okay?" Everyone's helping him out, and I
In
was
that
like,
voice.
I was like, ah! I was like, this is not gonna be good. So like, I picked him up. I got him some water, and he was like, "Aren't you Hardcore Keem?" I'm like, I'm like, it's over.
It's
And
over.
he was like, no man. He was like, no man, it's cool, it's cool. I'd rather have you knock me out than anybody else. I was like, don't say that. I was like, don't ever say that. So his name was Evan, and so
Shout out to
after
Evan
that,
for
shout out
being
Evan,
very,
shout out
very calm and
being
chill
cool.
about
I'm still so I apologize so many times that night. And then after we just ended up grabbing pizza and a drink. And I was like, I got you, Evan. Like, I got you. Like he was bleeding. It was
It's always the backhand because you never really look.
yeah. It was like because I tried to make sure because it was a pretty packed show, but when the pits open, it's like open. So like I tried to make sure nobody was behind me, but he just came walking up and I was like, and clocked him.
It's the way she goes. So, that's you clocking someone, and now we
Okay.
mentioned the getting clocked story.
Me getting clocked. Okay, so it was Warp Tour. What was it? I think it was 2013 Warp Tour.
Oh,
It was
sorry, my dog's freaking out. What's up? Is someone here?
how's it going? He
Who's
hears
here?
something.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Dog senses are crazy.
Yeah. This is like the third time my dog has interrupted a podcast.
Nah,
And
that's all good,
and it's
man.
always like he's asleep and then
Uh-huh.
someone's like, whatever. Like my
And he
neighbor
just wakes up.
just got home and then he's like
I
high
gotcha.
alert. So
I gotcha. Hey, that's
all
good
good.
though.
Warp
That's good.
Tour. Let's cut back
Okay.
to the story.
I think it was like Warp Tour 2013. It was one of the craziest lineups. So I was waiting in line. The first show was "Woe Is Me." I believe they played American Dream. I was in the pit. I was accustomed to the pit by then. uh then this big guy, like that's the thing, like I saw him coming, so I'm like still pitting on, and then like I ducked under the first one, but then he came back around, and like I saw it in slow motion, and I got clocked. Like his whole backhand just, and I folded. I was
Like a
completely,
cheap chair, just coo.
exactly, I was completely knocked out. Like I was out. And then like they took me to the meta tent, me and my buddy, we was there. I woke up and I was like, what the heck happened? He was like, yo, man, you got knocked out. And I was like, oh, I did? I was like, it was the first show. And he was like, hey, man, we can leave. I was like, I paid 30 something dollars for this whole day. We're staying.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting knocked out again.
What?
This
Like
time it was
the
closer to the end.
next band after?
It was, no, it was towards like the middle of the day. It was at a
Okay.
for
There was a
today.
little bit of mercy in between.
Yeah, absolutely, a little bit of mercy. But I think the second time I was like, all right, I'm not moshing anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
For today,
Who's the second match was for today?
for today.
Mm.
And
The
that song was
the
devastator. Never
Christ
forget it.
kill, if anything.
Exactly. It was that one. That one was I think, yeah, that one I think I was a crowd killer. I was like crowd surfing and that got dumped on my head.
Oh, so it was
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah, it was
done
one of
that
those, and
before.
I was like out, and I was
Just
like,
one
oh,
person doesn't do their part in holding
yeah.
up
They're just
you.
like, all right.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm out of here.
All right, peace. It's like that meme where the guy just like fades away.
Oh, he does a,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, there's some very nostalgic bands and shows like that we're bringing up here. Like
Yeah,
I
we're
hadn't
going
even
back.
thought about For Today in fucking many
We're
moons.
going. Yeah, man. They're an old relic.
An old relic. Some of their stuff, like I don't really care if anyone of that band's listens to this podcast, but some of their stuff
Mhm.
does not hold up, in my opinion.
Their newest stuff, oh my, their newest stuff is so. I don't know what the heck they were doing, man. But their Immortal album, or Portraits, oh my gosh, it,
Yeah,
it was it was just so good.
yeah. Yeah, I think I listened to like my friend did a cover of Devastator, and then just
Hmm.
like some of the like the thing that I realized when I was like playing, I guess that more like metalcore stuff. Are you seeing my dog in
Uh-huh.
the background? Just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
ugh. Um, it's just like some parts are just kind of like stapled together, and
yeah.
versus like actually like flowing in a sense.
Hmm.
And For Today is definitely one of those bands where it's like, okay, we were here, but how did we how did we get here?
Yeah, their transitions are not that great.
Okay, well, let's definitely get off of For Today and Warp Tour and back to
Hmm.
the thing at hand. So we kind of talked about just like the reaction videos that you're doing, and kind of the why behind it. But is there anything that you would give advice, or have you given advice to any of the bands that you have reacted to? It's just as far as like how to build an audience when it comes to being on YouTube, because I've heard it many times where people are like, oh, like everyone missed the boat when it comes to like growing on YouTube. Um,
Hmm.
but there's clear examples where there's been majority of people in a bunch of different, call it scenes, whether it's music or cameras or whatever,
Hmm.
that have built very sizable audiences. So what's your opinion on that as far as like creating content overall, and just like making something meaningful with what you're creating?
If I have to give like advice to a band about with their music, I would say make a meme out of your music. Like, get people's attention, because most people, that's why when I do my clips of bands, it's like 30 seconds to a minute, because you have, I believe, what is it, if you don't get the person in the first 10 seconds, you lost them. If something's not going to catch their eye or get them hooked, they're going to click off the video. So if more bands can, create that whole, like even just a snippet of something to catch people's eye, then yeah, you got them, and then you'll definitely grow your fan base a lot more. They definitely have to get out of their comfort zone, they definitely have to start actually promoting their music.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. It's I know people are most people are humble, but it's okay to promote your music. It's like
Yeah.
you work hard. You need to start reaping the benefits. Go ahead. Like
Yeah.
if you're proud of your project, be proud of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you know the band Arizona Decayer.
Uh,
You heard of Decayer?
no, I haven't heard of them. They're
Their vocalist,
From AZ.
yeah, Arizona.
Sick.
Their vocalist, his name is Harrison. He is the most hard working vocalist I've ever seen. He promotes his band 3 times a day, every single day,
Hmm.
in many different forms. Like he'll do giveaways. Like he gives a crap about his band. like his like his band is like really good, and I feel like most more bands should start doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you're that one annoying person, someone's gonna be like, all right, he keeps on promoting his band. Let me see what he's about,
Right.
and boom, you catch him.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I'm saying? So,
unfortunately, we don't live in a world where it's just this natural like chronological feed. Like you post something and like if you have 800 followers, 800 people are going to see it. Like, that
exactly.
is not the world that we live in. Scoped
Yeah.
almost has 3,000 followers, but like some
Mm,
videos we might only get like 50 likes, 100 likes.
yeah.
So, it's and that's again, it's so dependent cuz like someone could be liking a photo because it like maybe they like stop and actually watch it, but like maybe they watch 3 seconds of a band, they don't like the band, and they scroll to the next thing. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's I am a firm believer. I think that there might be a couple people that have been keeping up with Scoped and maybe have like, oh, like you guys post a lot. It's like we're posting a lot because we know that not all our posts are going to get to every single person out there.
Absolutely.
And things are just going to resonate differently with everyone.
Yeah, man. Like, or if what people do is you gotta with posts, you gotta get your engagement up, even if as tacky as it sounds. Tag 3 friends. Like, if you have to put that, that'll get you on more people's feeds. You know what I'm saying? Or as corny as it is, use hashtags. A lot of bands don't use hashtags. Like I always stress that. I'd be like, "You use hashtags?" I'd be like, no, and I was like, start using hashtags. Like it works.
Isn't there something though where like depending on the hashtag that you do, like
Mm,
if there's like too much on that hashtag, like it's almost better to do hashtags that are in the call it 100K versus millions and millions. Like you don't want to just hashtag like
mm.
music. Like that is probably
Oh,
not
no,
going to
no, no.
get seen as many people by like
Mm.
metalcore or like, something to that
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Like if you're like a deathcore band, don't put pop punk. Don't, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Like
No follow
it's
for
not gonna.
follows, no
Yeah,
tag every
no,
genre that you like. Be
exactly.
specific.
Like yeah, yeah. Definitely be specific.
Yeah. 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 That I think that's good because like I had very similar chats with Caleb just talking about like bands just need to put out more because most of the
Yeah,
time it's like here's our demo cover, it's on Spotify, and then you don't hear from us for 9 months.
yeah. And they like when they do that, they won't even put like a clip of the song. It's just like, hey, pre-save it, do it. It's like,
Okay,
all
bye.
right. Or what they'll do is I know that the thing used to be like they'll add you as a friend and then they'll DM you to follow their band, and it's like, follow your band for what? Like
Right.
what are you showing me? You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't follow your band because you told me to. Give me something to follow.
Yeah, there's a difference with being the annoying person banging on someone's door at 3 a.m. to like tell them something versus like being someone in the community and like just being recognized. Like you know there would be random times where I would like jump in I think I jumped in like a Code Orange stream one time, and I was just
Mm,
like, I'm a fan of that band, so I wanted to check out what they were talking about. So I was like responding, and it wasn't even like I sometimes I don't know if you do this, but like sometimes I forget if I'm on my personal or the Scoped account. So
mm.
I'm just commenting. I'm like, oh, I'm on the Scoped account, and then someone was like, yo, Scoped exposure is here, and I was like, someone I get like And so like just being some enough to just like, even if you're a band, if you just jump in random bands like live streams or comment stuff, when people go, like I always see it's either the vocalist or the band's comments are getting liked because it's like, oh, it's really cool that this band just kind of showed up to show some love or some insight or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do that a lot. Like if I see somebody on live, I'll hop in and I'll be like, hey, good job, or keep killing it and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing is like a lot of people won't go ahead and do a comment, so it's kind of like five people are kind of speaking for the masses in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think more people just need to do that. My personal favorite thing right now has been anytime there's like a band that's like, hey, we're dropping some new music this day. I'm always like, I just comment on the scoped account just the eye emoji because it's
Hmm.
like I'm watching you. Like I'm waiting for this to drop so I can like
Yeah.
put it on the playlist or like interview your band or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's been a nice
I
little
like that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any bands or reactions that are coming up down the pipe that people can look forward to? I guess after this video and podcast drops.
Um, I do got Sold Soul. I don't know if you heard of them.
Souls.
Sold Soul.
Oh,
Sold
Sold
Soul.
Soul.
Yeah,
No, I
Sold
haven't heard of
Soul.
them.
I have I Delusionist. Um, I know Healer's dropping another song. Yeah, I have I have a lot of reactions coming up. It's like it's gotten to the point where I have to schedule out my reactions. Like
How far are
what is it?
you?
August.
What's your count? August?
August is
Oh, I guess
booked.
we're in
August.
August, but
Yeah, August is booked.
yeah.
So if you're like, hey, can I get a reaction? Like September.
Yeah. Well, that is very sick. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so it's
I'm always again. I love seeing people, you know, who are grinding it out and creating content for these bands, and I think some of the reaction channels that I've seen are definitely like a little
mhm,
like sus, but I've watched so many of your videos more on the
mhm,
fact of just seeing how you're gonna react to certain things versus like I
mhm,
know who this band is. So I
mhm.
love that you're put like one of the bands specifically because I know we talked about Degrader a lot, but I think it was the band's name is Kill.
Yes.
You shared and you were doing it was like the ride part. You're like, do
Yeah.
that thing, and then
I was like, do that thing, do that thing. Yeah, yeah.
that's what made me turn on the volume because sometimes I'm like, the volume's turned off, and then I put them on like one of my playlists because I was like,
Uh,
this shit is so sick.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I get a lot in my comments is like, hey, how come you don't have a lot more subscribers and everything?
Mm.
And I think I brought this up in a video. Um yeah, because I was like, it's so with the reaction thing, it can be easy. It can be the easiest thing ever. What I can do is I can act like I never heard all these, like 80s bands like Metallica. I'd be like, oh, I never heard of Enter Sandman. Like all thing I have to do is like make like a just I could make five, let's just say five old, react to like old school bands, and just have me and like the thumbnail, and it'll get hits. And I was like, I don't want that. Like I want to. That's why before I started this whole hardcore keep thing, I was like, I need a foundation, and then these local bands will always be my foundation. So I don't care how many subscribers I have, as long as I'm putting these bands on the spotlight, I'm happy at the end of the day.
And with that, I don't think that there's any better way to wrap it up here. Akeem, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate
I
for having me.
definitely would love to do some more collaborations. We were trying to figure out how to do like some reactions to some Canadian bands on this, but I think
Mhm.
we'll talk after recording. But there's definitely a bunch of YouTube and music links coming your way.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. We're,
yeah,
we're gonna we're gonna shoot each other some links.
of course. Before we, say goodbye, is there anything you want to plug? Your YouTube channel, your Instagram, anything that I can kind of put on the screen here?
Uh, I That's one thing I don't like plugging myself.
You
I'm like,
literally said bands need to promote themselves more, and you're like,
yeah, I
I don't want
know.
to promote myself.
Maybe I'm like that type of guy who rather plug everybody else than myself. Follow me on Instagram at Hardcore Keem, YouTube Hardcore Keem, Twitter X Hardcore Keem X, and let's have a good time.
Let's have a good time. Well, Akeem, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I can't wait to see more of your videos. Go subscribe to him and stay moshy, my friends.
Hey, like that.